Richard Braine is here in the studio. Richard Braine, welcome to you.
Thank you very much.
8 different leaders since 2016. How long have you got?
Well, I've technically got 4 years. That's the normal term, and I hope to survive all of those 4 years. I would say that one of the reasons why we've had difficulties with leaders coming and going is to some extent interference. We know that Nigel Farage supported the previous leader Henry Bolton, who was unfortunately handled things extremely badly, and many people in the party wonder if he was actually trying to destroy the party and hurt it.
So you're in debt. You owe Nigel Farage a debt, don't you?
Absolutely. Nigel Farage has done a fantastic job over many, many years, 27 years.
You just wish he'd shut up now?
No, not at all. We want to see Brexit delivered by hook or by crook, and we don't mind really who does it. The main point is let's get Brexit actually delivered, real Brexit, not fake Brexit.
The difficulty you've got, of course, is he's gone and set up with others the Brexit Party, and they have stolen your raison d'etre, your principal raison d'etre.
I don't think that's right. We have a broad manifesto of policies, and independence is in our party name, and we stand for British independence, and we will do after Brexit is delivered. And don't forget that Sir Nick Clegg and Gideon Osborne and all of these people will be still trying to take us back into the EU, disastrously, of course, and so we're going to need to keep fighting that. It's going to go on for a long time. I estimated in 2016 that it would take us 10 years to really get clear of the EU. And I think, you know, that's a realistic prospect. So UKIP will go on fighting for British independence. And don't forget that it's not just independence from the EU. There are other forces that we need to be independent from. We see already the growth of international Marxism again. And we've got the threat of Jeremy Corbyn with the crazy ideas that didn't work in the 20th century and led to the deaths of 100 million people at least.
That's
so
a fairly
we've got lots of independence to aim for.
It's a fairly distinctive message, but to describe it as not resonating with the general public at the moment is probably an understatement. Brecon and Radnorshire, you came behind the monster raving loony party.
Well, we've always done badly in that constituency, in fact. If you look back, there was a bit of a blip in 2015 when UKIP did very well across the country and got nearly 4 million votes. But if you go back before that, you'll find that UKIP has always done very poorly there. That result wasn't actually particularly abnormal, and I don't think that it's reflective of the state across the country. But you're right that UKIP needs to fight its way back up in the polls again. There's no question about that. The primary reason why UKIP has done badly electorally since 2016 is because we actually forced the other parties to deliver our policy, Brexit, and we forced them to say, yes, that's what we're going to put in our manifestos.
You know what other people say. They say it's got nothing to do with that, or it's got a lot more to do with the fact you've become a protest vote party. You've become obsessive about Islamophobia, about the Islamification of the UK. Reports in The Guardian suggest there's videos showing you in Grantham in Lincolnshire talking about how we shouldn't allow the distribution of the Quran in public. Is that true?
Don't forget that our law actually bans incitement to violence. And so I think it's a very important issue that people look at why the Manchester Arena attack, Lee Rigby, the 7/7 bombings, Westminster Bridge, London Bridge, and many, many other attacks, Assad Shah, for instance, in Glasgow.
Would you stop people handing out the Quran in Leicester Square? Would you outlaw that?
I think we need to look into whether it's actually illegal to do so, because we do have laws against incitement to violence, so we should look into that. I understand that there's something like a 100-year ban, threshold, where if a work is more than 100 years old, it isn't subject to incitement laws. But I think that's worth looking at, because there's no question that some people who commit violence are motivated by the scripture, Surah 8:39, Surah 47 verse 4, and the other many, probably 100 verses in the Quran that do encourage people to be violent and even murderous.
You will know, won't you, that this is also a manual for life for 1.8 billion people, millions of people in the United Kingdom who hold it up as a text which makes their life more pious and better for the public at large. And you're saying we need to think about banning it.
Well, I'm not saying that. You're claiming that I said that. I didn't, actually. But don't forget that, for instance, in Germany, they did ban L. Ron Hubbard's books, Dianetics and so on, the Scientology movement, because, I mean, in that book, you have epithets like, all men are your slaves. And there's no question that the Scientologists have operated outside the law on many, many occasions and are regarded by many people as a dangerous cult. So I think it's important to analyse why people people behave the way they do, if religions or cults are actually encouraging people to do bad things, then we should be able to talk about that and look at it carefully and actually see if there's a solution to stop people just answering the demands or the commands to go and be violent.
Richard Braine, we have to leave it there. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.